Welcome to Museum Holic. I'm your host, Sascha, and again I am back for another content for Museum Holic. Today I will be talking about the 5 things that I like about the museum and another 5 things that I don't like about the museum. And stay with me as I'm going to reveal 5 things I don't like and the 5 things I like. Let's start about the 5 things I like about the museum. First that I like about is because it is full of artifacts, and those artifacts are knowledge, which means that students or non-students, researchers or non-researchers can benefit with all the artifacts that's kept in the museums, because that's the place where all the artifacts are going to be kept in safe. And that's why I like about the museum, because that can be kept in hundreds of years. And I do believe lots of museums out there around the world that older than 100 years old. So that's one thing that I like about the museum, is the artifacts. The second thing that I love about the museum are the interactive activities, which means that when you go to the museum, there are lots of interactive activities. Like, I'll give you one example, like the one where I'm at right now. This is the Science World, and when you are going to visit the Science World, 100% you will have an experience interactive activities. You can use that touch screen, but right now, because of the COVID, I'm not sure if it's still ongoing, but I bet the interactive activities is the #1 hit when you go to the museum, and that is what I love about the museum. The third thing that I love about the museum is the volunteer. When you are fond of doing good works, or when you are a retired person and you want to do something else to keep you busy, museum is another way for you to give service or render, and that is volunteer. One example is the Vancouver Maritime Museum. I spoke to one lady, and she's a retired lady, but she goes to the Vancouver Maritime Museum twice a week to do volunteer. And not only in Vancouver Maritime Museum, but all over museums they offer volunteer. You just have to go to the website and look for volunteer and go through all the process, what the requirements that the museum is needed in order for you to become one of their volunteer worker. The fourth thing that I love about the museum are the exhibits. And when I mention about exhibits, there are several kinds, but I will just gonna discuss 2. First is the rotating exhibit, which means that some of the museum every 6 months, or depending on the director or the curator or managing the museums, how often they do the rotation of the exhibits. And that's one thing I love about. And another one is a travel exhibit, which means that there are some artifacts that coming from different museums, and one museums will borrow or lend the artifacts, and they're gonna show it to the exhibits, and that's why it's called travel exhibits, which means that, for example, the artifacts from one of the museums that hold all the artifacts of Titanics, and a private lender will borrow the artifacts and will show that to different museums, and that is called a travel exhibit. And that's one thing that I love about, because I can see all the artifacts. If I'm not able to go to a certain museum, then the best bet is the travel exhibit. The fifth thing that I love about the museum is the gift shop. I know I would not include this, but I could not resist about the gift shop. When you go to each in every museum there's always gift shop, it's because that's the only way that they can also make money. Like some of the like designs that they have, for example, one museums like the Egyptian museums, and when you visit the museums, they always have gift shop, and what you can find in the gift shops are all Egyptians designs. Like you can find shirts or blankets or tights, and it's designed with the pyramid. So those kind of things are really helpful when you go to the gift shop at the end of your visit to the museum, because that's the only way you can support them and buy whatever you want to buy. But I'm not encouraging or discouraging here about spending money in the gift shop, but please do support. At least buy one item or two items or more, just to support the museum. Now, the 5 things that I don't like about the museums are camera. Some of the museums are not allowed to have a camera, and if they do, you have to pay. So I'm not gonna say which museums, but if you're watching this, you'll know that. Second one is video. Of course, it depends what are you gonna use for the video for, but some museums are not allowed to have videos. So just check their website if they do allow videos, taking videos, because it's like considering filming. And then the third thing that I don't like about the museums are the people that's behind you when you are going around the museum and check about the artifacts, especially painting. So the last one that I visited in Florida, it's like I'm in a high-end store. Like behind me there's always somebody is luring around and checking what I've been doing. So that's one thing I don't like about, like there's always security checking around the museums, especially high-end museums. When I said high-end, those are some expensive paintings. And the fourth thing that I don't like about the museums, some of the national museums are not free. So especially in Washington DC, the national museums are free, and I'll give you the links which museums are free. And also for veterans, they have a good pricing, cheaper, and especially for students and educators, and sometimes for as well as if you are disabled. So they have those kind of good entrance fee is cheaper, and sometimes absolutely it's free. So that's you know, one thing that I don't like about it. Should be free for the national museums, so you have to decide for yourself if it's free or not. And then the fifth thing that I don't like about the museum is of course, that is some of the museums, especially in Memorial Museum, you are supposed to have a dress code. So if you come in there with showing too much skin, then at least you have to check the website, because it's in their website the dress code, what you're supposed to wear, especially the memorial museums. Not all of the museum, I'm just talking about the memorial museums. So those are the 5 things that I don't like about the museum. And if you have anything that you don't like, please comment below, and would like to hear that from you. Thank you very much.